and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where we simply must discuss the fallout from that utterly chaotic start to the new season. But today, we've got particular emphasis on ourselves, you know, what we can do, what we did out there last night, and especially our attacking play is discussed in detail today, as we're also going to be talking about the very latest on the transfer window, as Neymar has indeed made his final decision. The Joao Felix rumours are well and truly back on the table, and could Joao Cancelo be the key to Xavi's system well and truly taking flight? We're going to be talking all about that today, so come on! And let's do this. Because certainly, guys, looking back on last night's display, last night's game against Getafe, I think there was so much frustration, so much anger after that, especially there in the match review. I think I completely lost my head. I mean, there were so many different things, you know, to be angry about. There was Getafe, the referee, VAR, fouls, red cards, time wasting, you name it, we experienced it last night. But of course, we spoke about all that in the review, like I say, so I'm not going to dwell too much on all of that kind of stuff today, because unfortunately, a lot of it, we can't control it. So what I want to look at today is what we can do, what we can actually do ourselves, take it upon ourselves to take the power out of these people's hands and make sure that we do our job, that we don't back down here, and that we achieve our full potential this season. How can we do that? Well, let's start with Xavi, because aside from the referee, Getafe, and indeed La Liga last night, it is fair to say that quite a lot of criticism also went the way of Xavi Hernandez. And I'm just wondering already, guys, what do you make of that there? Do you feel as though that criticism of Xavi after the game was indeed warranted? Because for me, I would say from the word go, in the opening game of the season there, I just think the lineup was wrong. I think straight away there, the setup that Xavi went with, I just didn't understand it. From the very second that I saw there, that 4 midfield setup, was it the game for that? I mean, I understand this is a setup here, 4 midfielders that can work. You know, we saw it at times last season, not every game, but at times it could work in specialist circumstances, in specific games, it can be effective. But away at Getafe, did we really need 4 midfielders? Was this really a game here to just pack the middle of the field, to control the ball, and to ultimately have that possession? Because it just never seemed like that was really going to work out here. Because it wasn't even as though, guys, Getafe played in a deep block, because they didn't. There was actually a decent amount of room in behind them. There was a decent amount of space there in the final third. And actually, we did see us take advantage of that in the first half. Rafinha, when he was on the field, he was doing really well, getting in behind, making good runs, and that was effective. Abde did the same in the second half. He had lots of opportunities there because he was exploiting that space, and that was the big problem for me, because why couldn't we have had threats down both wings from the word go? Why couldn't we there have taken the game immediately to Getafe, put real pressure on them, forced them to be so focused there on what our attackers were doing, so focused on runs and movement all around them that they didn't have time maybe for their nonsense? But we didn't do that. We were playing the ball about in front of them, side to side, very slow, very lethargic. They had all the time in the world to mess up the game, basically. That's exactly what they did. And I just think it makes no sense. Because then as the game went on, guys, you look at the way that Xavi acted in the second half, you know, when the game was getting more and more difficult, then he brought on all the attackers. We ended the game there with 4 players in our attack. And it's like we went from one extreme to the other. 1 minute we didn't want more than 2 attackers out there. Then we wanted the whole lot. And I just think here, why didn't we start with a good balance? We have to get used to, I feel, this season, playing with 3 out-and-out attacking players. That is Barça. That is the way that we should take to the game on the majority of occasions. And maybe, just maybe, guys, if we'd have got an early goal with an aggressive, offensive approach, maybe that would have avoided all the frustrations that followed later. However, the attacking thoughts from me really don't end there either, because I was also very surprised, guys, honestly, really shocked that we didn't see Ferran Torres for the entirety of this game. Now, there were a few rumours before it that maybe he might actually be suspended for the first game of the season, but he wasn't. He was right there on the bench, and he stayed there for the entirety of the match, and I really didn't expect that, you know, based on somebody who's had a really good pre-season, who has actually been scoring some good goals. He does have the ability there to make runs, very clever runs, into open space. And like I say, the space was there. It was right there to be exploited. And I really don't understand why Xavi didn't at least call upon Ferran for some of that second half, which brings us then onto the topic of Robert Lewandowski. Because this is somebody who we've spoken about even before the season started, talking there about criticism, about concerns about Lewandowski. And I think watching that game last night for me illustrated, and for many other Barca fans too, something very, very wrong about Lewandowski's style of play right now. Because honestly, guys, in my opinion, he's doing too much, or he's trying to do too much. Because how many times do you see Lewandowski in a game move away from his number 9 position? From high up in the field there, he will drop in, drop deep, almost into a false 9 position, and this is something that happens time and time again. Now, is this something that Xavi's asking him to do? To drop deep and get involved and to actually be away from that centre-forward role? Because honestly, I don't understand the benefit of it, because the absolute best case scenario usually is that Lewandowski can just about receive the ball and he'll win a foul. But it's miles from goal anyway. We're not really going to benefit anything from that kind of free kick. But more often than not, what we're seeing right now is balls there being pinged into Lewandowski. He's got loads of opposition players around him and he's going to lose the ball. That is what happens so many times in a game. And every time that happens, our attacks break down. Possession is lost and we've got to start all over again. And I just think right now, this is a team, especially last night, that started with 4 midfielders. Why on earth do we need Lewandowski dropping in as well? Why do we need even more players there to be all crammed into the centre there of the field? And Lewandowski, that's not what he's best at. You know, why don't we actually stick to him there doing what he does best? Get on the last man, make sure he's close to the penalty area at all times, and just be ready for when balls reach you in that final danger zone. Because that's what he's here for at the end of the day, guys. He is the final piece in our team, the finisher, the poacher, and especially right now, when he's not at his best, he's not playing at his sharpest. Let's go back to basics here. We don't need to see him dropping in time and time again. Let's focus on him getting into the box and putting the ball into the back of the net. But here's the thing, and this is what brings us on to our very next topic right now, because many Barca fans will have been watching that kind of game last night as we struggled to find a way through Getafe, and we will have said, we lack creativity. We lack a spark in this team. Somebody, something to make it all happen, make it all click together. And you look at the game last night, it lasted nearly 120 minutes there, guys. How many quality chances, real good opportunities did we actually create? Honestly, it wasn't very many. And this is why many Barca fans are asking the question right now, do we need something more? Is there still a need for Barca to explore the possibility of bringing in some form of creativity in the remainder of the transfer window in terms of that attacking profile? Because we know now that Neymar has indeed reached an agreement. He has agreed to join Al-Hilal in Saudi Arabia. Fabrizio Romano today says, here we go. It's a 2-year deal there, and PSG will receive just less than 100 million euros. So a big deal there to send Neymar to Saudi. I think football fans in general are quite disappointed, quite sad really, to see Neymar going there at the age of only 31 years old. But Fabrizio has said today that everybody within Barca, they were convinced about Neymar. The likes of Joan Laporta, Mattia Almani, Rafael Yuste, they all were happy to sign Neymar, but Xavi was the man that effectively stopped the deal happening. He was never convinced about him. He was never sold on the idea of Neymar in his team, but now Neymar won't be coming. Now that seems to have been all wrapped up and confirmed. Is there another move now that Barca could make? Because we have to talk about Joao Felix. Now that is inevitable. That was always going to be the very next port of call, because certainly right now in the media, that's the next name that we're hearing, that Barca will eventually make a move for Joao Felix, and especially of course given what Felix said just a few weeks ago in terms of it'll be a dream for him if he could make this move. He's been waiting the whole window, hoping that at some stage it could happen, but will it right now? And I thought it was really interesting after the game last night, speaking there of Rafael Yuste, Barca's vice president, because he spoke after the game on Joao Felix, on his words about wanting to join Barca, about it being a dream. And did the vice president here just add fuel to the fire? Because he said for a player like Joao Felix to say that he wants to play for Barca, That makes us very, very proud. He said it actually shows us that Barca are in a strong position. He welcomed those words, and is that optimism there with regard to Joao Felix and his dream of coming here this summer? Because after that, there were plenty of rumours there in the media. Helena Condis, she was quoted there as to saying, could there be some sort of swap deal between Ansu Fati and Joao Felix this summer? Is that something that could be on the table? But guys, I want to clarify this because her words there were slightly misinterpreted. Last night, she did not say that Ansu would be swapped with Joao Felix. She said that earlier on in the window, maybe that could have happened. That was something that may have been discussed. But she says right now, Ansu does not want to leave. That is not something that is on the table right now. But Elena did say that she would not rule out some sort of deal, something happening towards the end of this window when it comes to Barca and when it comes to Joao Felix. And I think this is the really interesting debate right now that is going on between Barca fans, and I think it is quite divided, because do we still need that kind of wildcard signing, the attacking profile there that could come in and give us a different kind of option to add to what we already have? Is that something that should be a necessity for Barca? Or, and let me just put this to you guys, does Cancelo already give you that? If you're able to bring in Joao Cancelo, obviously he's not a forward, but you just imagine him in the kind of positions last night that Araujo was in, so high in the field, really there on the last man of that Getafe line. Cancelo alone could have stretched Getafe. He really could have there. And when you get him that high up, he basically is like a winger. So he even could be at times classed as a different type of option in attack. And that is something, guys, that we've not experienced right now for such a long time at right back there. I think we've almost forgotten what it's like to have somebody who's genuinely attack-minded, who can get forward and join the attack on that right side. We've seen Balde do it on the left and do it so well. Imagine now Cancelo as well being a threat on both sides there. It could be a game changer for Barca. And Fabrizio Romano today, he says right now it's going to be a massive week. We spoke about that yesterday. And he says right now Barca will submit a bid there for Cancelo, a loan with an option to buy. That is going to be Barca's bid on the table. They have fully agreed personal terms with Cancelo. They have done for a while now, and we will see how that bid is received in Manchester. But what do you make of that right now, guys? Do you feel as though Joao Cancelo alone could really help us, could add a different dimension to this team? Does he have the quality to do that all on his own at right back? Or do we need something more? Do let me know, guys, in the comments down below. If you were Barca, if you're looking at the end of this window now, what does this team need? What can we do in these final days? Do let me know your thoughts and your reactions down below. We've got to get it right. We have to have a good season at this club. We have to make sure that we are pushing on and that we do not stay down for long. I will catch all of you guys very soon indeed. Thank you for all of your great support. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.